What's up, guys? It's Terrence Brumfield from A&R Block. Just wanted to hop on today and have a conversation about what is blockchain. I know a lot of people out there have seen crypto rise and drop back down, and there's a lot of questions out there on you know what's the best way to get into blockchain or what it even means. So I wanted to take some time to hop on with you guys and discuss a little bit about what is blockchain. I've been in the blockchain industry for about maybe 6 years now. I have worked as an ambassador for multiple blockchains. I am a trader and investor, and I am the CEO of A&R Block. So let's talk a little bit about blockchain. So I have a background. My initial background, I started off working in music, managing producers and songwriters. And what most people don't understand is blockchain came because of music, first and foremost. Like if it wasn't for music, we wouldn't have blockchain. So back in the early 2000s, there was a website called Napster, and there was a website called LimeWire. So if you used either one of those, this might help you understand what blockchain is. So Napster was the first person-to-person consensus algorithm. And what that means is if you had Napster or if you had LimeWire, you were able to log into your profile and search the world for music files. And if you remember, if you ever used these, when you would go to your user interface, you would have three sections. You would have a search bar at the top, and then you would have an uploading section, and then you would have a downloading section. So if I searched a song, it would a bunch of different links would pop up. But next to those links, it would have the number of users who downloaded that link. So if I searched a song, like I think back then it was probably 50 cents in the club, if I searched that song, it would say, well, this song has so many thousand downloads. And through that consensus algorithm, because it basically, if you were using the platform, it checked your hard drive and everybody else's hard drive who were using the platform, and it would determine who has how many computers had the most downloads of a specific track. So if the file that I clicked on had thousands of downloads, then we could all agree that that would probably be the one that I'm looking for, the one with the best quality. So that would be in your search bar section. You would have results of how many people downloaded. Then you would have the downloading section. Those were the songs that you were downloading. Then at the bottom, it would have uploading. These are the songs that other people were looking for. And if you had it on your computer and a great deal of people downloaded the file that you have on your computer, then that consensus algorithm would determine that this is the best file. So when you're searching it and the file that's on my computer pops up, when you click download, you're actually getting the song off my hard drive. At the same time, I'm searching other songs and I'm getting those songs from other people. That was the first true peer to peer networking consensus algorithm, meaning there's a consensus of all of the users that says this is probably the best file that you're looking for. So through that process, we were able to swap and trade songs. Well, through that, whether there was a group of people or one person realized that, well, if we could use encryption and block off a certain amount of time, for argument's sake, right now, let's just say 10 minutes. Let's say for every 10 minutes, we blocked off all of the transactions, meaning uploads, downloads, everything that happened within that time frame, and we encrypted both ends, and then that ledger is distributed to everybody, that consensus algorithm, then we could pass information securely over that blockchain. Block meaning block of time, chain meaning linked off with encryption on both ends. Blockchain. It's a block of information within a time frame, and each block creates a chain of events. So if every 10 minutes that ledger, so to speak, was distributed to all of the users, then when it's time for a new transaction, we can backtest the custody of, let's say, a file, or in blockchain's case, money transactions. So your normal bank, you have a private ledger with your bank, meaning all of your transactions is shared between you and your bank. Well, in blockchain technology, it's one ledger that everybody uses. And with that one ledger, all transactions are all public. So every, let's say, 10 minutes, there's a block that's created. That block of information is encrypted on both ends, and it's distributed to thousands of miners, or if you're using proof of stake, you have thousands of nodes it's distributed to. So when a new transaction goes through, the blockchain will randomly search the blockchain for thousands, hundreds, tens of confirmations of the chain of custody. Meaning, if I sent $5 to John, John sent $5 to Mary, Mary sent $5 to Paul, it would look at the blockchain ledger on 10, 20 random different points of access, and all of the information should match because it was distributed in real time to all of these points of access. So if I wanted to hack the blockchain or to add a new transaction or a fake transaction or fake money, which is fake crypto, it's impossible because when the chain of custody has been checked or that ledger has been checked on random points of access, they all have to match. If one doesn't match, then it's invalid because they all have to confirm that these events happen because all of the different blocks and the blockchain should all be identical because it's one ledger. If there is a discrepancy in that ledger, then that transaction won't go through because it's probably a bad actor or somebody trying to use a faulty transaction to input that into the blockchain. So it'll be ignored, right? And the reliable information from 10, 20, 30, 40 to 100, hundreds of different other points of access they'll rely on that information. So that provides a very secure network. So now you have everyone who's operating on this one singular network, and that can be Bitcoin or that can be Ethereum. These are all different blockchains that people use, and they all have different uses, right? And because you can determine truthful information over blocks of time and rely on that, then you can pretty much do anything with blockchain. You can store medical records on blockchain, meaning, okay, you go to the hospital. When you go to the hospital, you have to fill out 10, 20, 30 pages, 10 pages of different questions. And even after you fill out those questions, every time you go to a new doctor, you don't have access to your medical records. It still takes days to weeks for the new doctor to request those medical records and have them mailed over from your previous doctor. Well, if those medical records were on the blockchain, now I can walk in with my crypto wallet or my private wallet, and I can log in with my password. And when I log in with my password, I can give access to those medical records to the new doctor. And once I log in my password on that with that new doctor, he instantly has access to those medical records. Furthermore, the doctor who had the medical records prior to that no longer has access to it because you've allowed a new access point You've allowed a new doctor to have access to those medical records. Excuse my phone. I'm going on Instagram as well too. So that new doctor, he has, next time I'll put it on airplane mode, my bad. But that new doctor will have access to your medical records instantly. And the old doctor that you had no longer has access to it. So now that means you're in control of your information. It travels with you. Another use case is food and supply chain, right? So let's imagine for an instance that I wanted a steak, right? When you go into the store, you buy a steak or you buy anything perishable, it says where it comes from. But the reality is, you don't know when that steak was slaughtered. You don't know how long it's been frozen. You're guessing on how fresh that produce is. You're guessing on how fresh that ground beef is. There's no definitive answer. Where, well, I believe Cardano has a project called Beef Chain. And Cardano is a blockchain, a decentralized blockchain. And there's one project operating on that blockchain called Beef Chain. So if I'm a farmer and I have cows, there's a generated QR code for each cow, and we know what a QR code is. You scan it, and it's linked to something, right? So that cow can have a RFID chip or a tag inside of that cow, to where when I feed that cow, I scan his RFID chip, and I scan the QR code, and I feed him, or I give him water. So every time that cow, well, let's say when it's birthed, every time that cow is fed, every time that cow is either, if it's given vitamins or medication or any activity that happens with that cow, the QR code is scanned, the RFID chip is scanned, and there is a track record of that cow. And that RFID chip might do more things like check heart rate, check the overall healthiness of the cow to make sure that, you know, he doesn't have any levels that's off, because that would show signs of distress, meaning that cow is not healthy. But every time that cow is fed, the QR code is scanned, the RFID chip is scanned, and over the lifetime of that cow, I have a record of what happened. So when it comes to the day that that cow is slaughtered, that RFID chip is scanned, that QR code is scanned, and that cow was slaughtered on this day. So that cow is cut up into hundreds, if not thousands of pieces. Now, since the cow is on blockchain, each piece of that cow is linked to that original QR code, and a new code is generated for that piece. So I have this ribeye steak that came from this cow, and they match it. They match, right? So that sensor, put a sensor on and they have these already. It's a little sensor that goes on the meat that tells if the meat is at proper temperature, and that QR code or that history of when that cow was born, when that cow was slaughtered, what it was fed, all of that is generated on the blockchain. So now every time that piece of meat is transferred, it's scanned. So it becomes a part of a subset, right? It becomes a part of a subset to where now I have these thousands of pieces of meat within this subset is connected to this one cow. And my steak is in there. So every time it passes or exchanges hands, that piece of meat, that QR code is scanned and that record is taken. Meaning, okay, if a truck comes and picks up this piece of meat, it's scanned, it goes on the truck. And when it's scanned, the chip on the actual package of the meat, it'll tell you the temperature of the meat. It'll tell you what truck picked it up, what time it picked it up, and it'll maintain and make sure that the temperature is within the proper range of a healthy piece of steak, or a piece of steak that's edible, right? So if it falls below that temperature within transport, you would know, it would be on the record that this piece of meat for this amount of time fell below that record. So now when it gets to the grocery store, well, it can't just sit out on the aisle. You go to the grocery store, you see ice cream, you see all types of things. You see it sitting on the aisle preparing to go out. Well, you can't do that if it's on blockchain, because now, as an end user, when I want a steak, I'm going to walk into the grocery store, I'm going to open up Beef Chain, and I'm going to scan the specific piece of meat. I'm going to look at the record of that specific piece of meat. And I'm going to know when it was slaughtered, where it came from, what the cow was fed. And at that point, I can determine which piece of meat is best for me. Meaning now you can't serve meat that's been frozen for 3 months or 6 months, because people don't want that. You can't freeze it and then thaw it out and then put it out on display. Now I'm going to want the freshest piece of meat that I can possibly get. And I have the opportunity to check that by scanning that piece of meat. So now it becomes more apparent that there needs to be a higher sense of urgency on how food is handled, right? So now each person can choose down to the piece of meat and look at the history of it and be sure that, you know what, I don't want to eat this. And that goes for any perishable or anything that you purchase can be stored on the blockchain so it can be trackable. Same thing goes for lithium ion. In Africa right now, in the Congo specifically, there's a lot of destabilization going on. China has invested hugely into the destabilization of Africa so they can pillage the lithium ion over there. And over in the Congo, there's a great war and battles over territory. And China is heavily involved in this destabilization because there is a race for lithium ion, because at this point, everyone is using batteries. So lithium ion being tracked on the blockchain could help those areas, because now we can track where it came from, kind of like tracking diamonds. Now I can say, well, you know what? I don't want lithium ion from these specific areas, because the people that are digging up this lithium ion or getting these materials to make batteries, these people weren't protected. These people, because you can go and look up the Congo and lithium ion and China and the Congo and see what's going on. People are digging up lithium ion with their bare hands, with an axe. There's no protection for them. They're being exposed to chemicals for pennies on the dollar. You know, they have kids out there who are working at 5, 10 years old, digging, manipulating these hazardous materials. And with blockchain technology, we can hold companies accountable for where they get their sourced materials from. And, I think that would be great for the people of Africa. There's there's trillions of dollars worth of raw materials in Africa that's being fought over at this point. And blockchain technology can help organize that, so at least we know where we're getting our stuff from. Same goes for money, right? If you transfer money from one person to another, you have control of it. They have what's called decentralized wallets. And these decentralized wallets aren't controlled by anybody. They're stored on the blockchain. If you have a wallet, you can purchase money you can purchase crypto from an exchange, a central exchange like Coinbase, because, you can add your credit card. Once you get a hold of those assets, you can take them, which I implore you to withdraw your assets off of centralized exchanges and put them into a self-custody wallet. And I'll do another video on what self-custody wallets is. But with a self-custody wallet, you can take control of your assets, meaning nobody has control over your assets but you. You can buy, sell, or trade at any time of day, 24 hours a day, through a decentralized wallet. Nobody can stop a transaction on the blockchain because it's peer-to-peer. It's directly from you to the next person. When you're using your credit card, there's always a third party involved, meaning if I want to buy something, I have to swipe my card, and then Visa or MasterCard or Discover or whatever card you're using, they have to approve that transaction. So they have to say, well, yeah, this person's good for it. And then they'll give you the goods and or goods or services. And after that, you'll be able to purchase whatever you want and take whatever you buy. But that money, your money that's in your bank account, it's not all there. When you put your money in the bank, they invest it and they use it and they spend it, and in hopes that you don't come and try to collect all of it, depending on how much money you have. Just walk into a bank and ask them, some banks, and ask them for $10,000 cash. You might not get it. Some banks, some credit unions have a $5,000 max, to where you might have to go to 3 or 4 different locations to get that money. They don't carry that much cash, or they do have it, but they won't give it to one singular person. A lot of times, when you're taking cash transactions over $10,000, you have to order that money. You have to call them and tell them you want it, and then they'll get it for you. And then you can come pick it up probably within 24 hours or 48 hours. They'll have that money for you. They don't keep your money. They invest it. It always goes out into the market. Well, when you're holding cryptocurrency, you have self-custody of it. You have 100% of your money and access to it whenever you want. So that being said, you got medical records on the blockchain we talked about. We have food on the blockchain that we talked about. We have lithium ion or raw goods and services, and that goes for anything, any ingredient, cinnamon, sugar, anything, supply chain, period. Because, COVID, we had supply chain issues. They didn't, different manufacturers will go down. You don't know exactly where certain things are available. Even right now with produce, you have lots of, I think it was 19,000 fires happened at manufacturing plants over the last year. And it's happening on a regular basis. The food that chickens are being fed is hurting their reproductive system. So chickens aren't providing eggs. Excuse me. Chickens will stop laying eggs. And certain manufacturers have to switch the diet of the chickens and go to a more organic diet, and then those chickens start to lay eggs again over a certain amount of time. So that's why you have a shortage. So, on the blockchain, if you have those animals stored on the blockchain, you'll know which different farms have egg producing chickens and how many eggs they have on hand at any given time in real time. And then you can deploy those logistic services, those trucks to go pick those eggs up, sell those eggs, transport them to the grocery store so they can get in your hands. So any goods and services, any supplies on the blockchain, that ledger allows us to be able to get information in real time. So anything you can imagine, you can work on blockchain. So let's talk about, and I don't have a script, I'm just going off the top of my head. Let's talk about payroll. Okay? So if I'm working a job and I have my employee ID is attached to my wallet at this point, right? It's a decentralized system. So now, if I have my wallet, I can connect my wallet to the payroll system. So now when I clock in at work, I just clock in with my crypto wallet, right? And on the blockchain, it has a record of me clocking in at this time. And then there's a smart contract, and that's basically then that's what a smart contract is, meaning if I work an hour, it's a digital contract, by the way, it has to be coded, meaning if I work an hour, then I get paid, let's say $20. So if Terrence works 1 hour, he gets paid $20. If he works past 8 hours, he gets time and a half, which is $30 an hour. Or however, if he works past 7 days or past 5 days, you go into overtime or have double time on the 6th or 7th day. That's all within the smart contract. So if I'm working now, and when I clock in, every hour, on the hour, I have the company that, let's say the company that you work with, they have a shared wallet, which is going to distribute all of the assets to the employees in real time, meaning if I work an hour, I get paid that hour, every hour, on the hour. So that smart track would execute every hour. So if I work 8 hours in one day, smart contract says I get paid $20 an hour minus whatever taxes and fees that, healthcare, social security, all of that comes out at that point. So now when every hour hits, I get my, let's say, 16, 25, $17 or whatever, minus, let's say, $3 per hour. We're just, guessing or guesstimating the taxes on that. Let's say $3. You're paying those taxes in real time. So now when I get off work, my crypto wallet, whatever I choose to get paid in, whether that's stable coin, meaning it's always pegged to the dollar, that means I get paid that when I leave work, my money is in my pocket. I have it in real time. And it also means at the same time that the government got theirs. So don't think for 1 second that the government is going to stop blockchain technology. It's in their benefit to have blockchain technology. Because the reality is, if we could get paid and our payroll can be on the blockchain, we wouldn't have to pay taxes. It would all be there, right? So that's awesome. If you get taxed, and every time you get taxed, it automatically comes out, then you don't have to do anything at the end of the year. They already have their taxes already. And you get paid in real time. And for the government, well, that's a benefit, right? Because they got paid everything. There was nobody cheating the system. They got exactly what they were supposed to get. I mean, at this point now, you have people who cheat the system. People who don't even pay taxes at all, right? So if the government was able to get their money in real time, we were able to get our money in real time, and there were no mistakes, then it's good for all parties because there's no mistakes. And then at the same time, there would be nobody dodging the system. There would be no one cheating. There would be anyone not paying their taxes. Everybody would pay their taxes. So blockchain it's the best technology that's ever been created. And it's not going anywhere. There's been a lot of pushback from the government on certain projects. But the only reason they do that is because they're figuring out how to make it work best for them. That's why they're not going to outlaw crypto. They're going to regulate it eventually. They're going to find out, what's the best way that we can regulate it to where it's fair and everybody gets paid. Well, at least fair for them. It might change for us. But it makes it fair for everyone at the end of the day. So it's not going away. Now, let's get back to the music, right? So A&R Block, we're a music-based project. And the biggest issue with music is people don't get paid their money. Labels cheat people. Every artist, big, small, they're getting taken advantage of. And our goal at A&R Block is to provide a system to where everybody gets paid in real time. Meaning, if I purchase a song and we intend to make songs sell again, I'm not a fan of streaming. I am a fan of people being able to purchase music and actually own it. And we're developing ways that can happen to where you can own music and not steal it, but actually buy it. And you don't have to pay a monthly to be able to have access to your music. It's forever yours once you buy it. And when you do buy it, everyone who participated within that song gets paid in real time. They have what's called split sheets. So if I'm a producer and you have a producer and an artist, producer gets a certain percentage, the artist gets a certain percentage. And if there's a label involved, I don't like record labels either. I believe that artists can go direct to consumer and sell their music directly to their fans and keep everything, and we're working on that as well. If there's a label involved, then they get their percentage. But if I was to download a song and purchase it, everybody should get paid. So if I just played the saxophone on a song and I earned 1% for that, every time that song is purchased, I would get that 1% of that purchase price. So if it's $1, I'm gonna get my penny immediately, as soon as it's bought. So in real time, as songs are purchased or streams happen and there's money associated with that, it's all broken down amongst the users in real time. Whether I played the piano, whether I wrote the lyrics, whether I sung the song, or if I'm the record label, we all get paid in real time. That is the goal for A&R Block, is to provide those goods and services. That is the tech side of it, of what we're building. So artists, producers, songwriters, definitely join in our community as we're working for you, and we're working towards building things for the users as well. The ability to be able to own your music again. And along with that, we have a metaverse project that we are building to where you'll be able to experience and interact virtual performances and interact with other users and fans within this virtual world that we call the metaverse. So follow us, A&R Block, on YouTube, A&R Block IO on Instagram, A&R Block on Twitter. Um, Click the little bell on YouTube, subscribe. I'll be going live on a regular basis talking about things that are coming. We have an NFT project dropping on February the 14th, and it's the MC. It is a pretty dope piece of artwork. There's 20 variations of it. We have a set of characters. It's, I believe, 12, and it's going to be very small in the beginning. The first NFT, it's only 20 of them available. And at this point, I believe we're going to drop them on the JPEG store, jpeg.store. You'll be able to purchase the NFT. There's only 20 of them. And by purchasing these NFTs, you get a say-so in the community vote. So as we build and make changes to our project, whether it be the metaverse, whether it be the streaming app, whether it be the NFT marketplace that we're building, you can give your input on where that can go. And our collective community that holds these NFTs, your collective voices equal one vote. And that one vote sits on our advisory board. We have members on our advisory board that has a vote as well, but that community does have that vote. And in events that there is a tie, when our community, or at least our advisory board, meaning myself and other executives that we partner with or we have that's working within the A&R Block ecosystem, whenever there's a tie, that one vote, that community, I'm sure it's going to be that tiebreaker. And so join the community. We have a Discord. I'll add it to the link of the YouTube stream once we get done here, and you'll be able to join the Discord. If you'd like to purchase the NFT, it's dropping on February 14th. Have your voice be heard. It's only 20 of them, and that's the first character. We have 12 other characters. We may increase the amount of variations of those NFTs as we move along, as the community gets bigger. But as we start out, I want to keep it very unique and very small within the community. And as we grow to hundreds to thousands of users, then those NFT projects will grow as well. So I appreciate your time. My name is Terrence Brumfield. I am the founder of A&R Block. Follow us, subscribe, tick the bell on YouTube, stay in touch with what we're doing. I'll be doing these lives on a regular basis. We'll be talking about developments within the community and education in crypto and blockchain as a whole. So